Welcome guys. So I wanted to start off this video with explaining my split a little bit here. I tend not to do this because they almost can change pretty much by the month. I usually switch things up as far as the lifts and the frequency and stuff, but this is what it is for at least a 4-week wave for me. You see the red days are in, my lower days are in red and my upper days are in blue. So essentially what you'll see with the weights, that's kind of the range I work in. If I'm feeling good, I'll go for the top end of the range. Same thing with the reps, and if I'm feeling not so good, I'll go on the lower end of the range. And then on certain movements like the front squat and deadlift, you see the asterisk there. Pretty much all I'm doing is working my way up to a top set, so like one top set of 3. I'll try to PR on that, and then I'll do some back off work, either like 90% of that or 85% of that. So essentially that's what my layout looks like. And again, that's just one way you can set up DUP, and this is just one example. That's why I don't like to give it out a lot, because it can literally change from week to week if you even want to. But this is what I'm doing. I started this last week, this week, and then the 2 next week. So I'll talk about footage. So let's get rolling, guys. This was Monday, my first squat day, and there's 325 on the bar right here. This would have been my first working set. And this is a pretty good theme that I have. I usually will start off my first set almost every single time, unless it's higher rep range and I feel really comfortable. But if I'm doing anything even 5s and under, I will start my first working set pretty low on my weight range and see how it feels. If it feels heavy, then I probably won't make such a big jump. That right there, that 325 for 5, I believe, didn't feel too challenging, so I knew I could add some weight. And I tell my clients this all the time who run a similar training style as me. That's kind of how you want to do it. You want to start off in the lower end of the range, and that's what I call like a buffer. That's what it's there for. If you're feeling good, push it. If you're not, stay at that weight. You see what I'm saying? So this was a 335 for 5, which was all-time PR for me again, and just 5 pounds up from last week. I believe I hit 330 for 5, and I hit 335 for 4. So yeah, this is just one more rep, and I'm perfectly fine with, I think I said this last week, perfectly fine with 5 pound PRing and 1 rep PRing all the way to 400 and beyond. 400 kind of being my acute goal. Hopefully by the end of the year, it's September now, so I have about 2.5, 3 months. I definitely think that's a doable goal, considering what I hit at the end of this week, which you guys will see. So, and yeah, like I'll talk about this too with my last squat of the week. I will go for that 1 PR set, but if it felt good, even if that PR set felt good, I'll usually stay at that weight. So for instance, on that Monday, I hit that 335 for another set, and I backed it off for my final set. So this was bench. I believe this was my second set. I did something really similar. I think my first set was at 225 for a pretty easy 5, and then even these 5s were pretty easy, but I at least wanted to get a spotter. I felt really comfortable. This was an all-time PR for me again, 230 for 5. Really feeling comfortable with bench press. I think the wave for me, I've been doing this for a couple of cycles now, where I have a 4x6 day, a 6x8 day, and then a 2x4 day. That setup for me has been phenomenal ever since I stopped running Small Op Junior. It had those great gains off of it. So I really don't do a lot of dumbbell stuff and dumbbell work anymore. Usually I always do some kind of accessory press. So if I'm doing upper body 3 times a week, it usually is like an overhead press with the barbell, usually like an incline press with the barbell, and then one of the weeks I'll do a dumbbell press, either a military or incline. So I'm usually only inclining pressing or dumbbell pressing 1 time a week. So this was my front squat. This was Wednesday. I wasn't really happy with my depth here. This was an all-time PR for me. I think this is 10 pounds up from last week, my triple that I hit. But again, front squats are probably one of those things I need to focus more so on the form and not so much on just moving the weight. That's kind of what back squat is there for. And I always just feel more comfortable going heavy on back squat. I do have ankle range of motion problems, and even a lot of thoracic issues when I try to front squat heavy. I don't really feel it too much, but of my accessory work that I actually do, which isn't a lot, I always try to get in a lot of rowing dumbbell rowing, barbell rowing, things like that to work on my upper back strength. I think that will help me tremendously right here on my deadlift, not falling forward and rounding so much, and then also my front squats and my squats and probably my bench press as well. So this was right after the front squats. So again, I'm still pulling twice a week right after my squats, and that was 345 for a triple. So that was 10 pounds up from last week, and I PR'd again. So the back off work here was a little bit heavier, so I just took 90% of that and hit 315 for triples, and these felt really good. I do understand I'm not in denial and I'm not naive that my deadlift form does not look pretty, but I am working on it. And kind of the joker for me, or I guess the final card, is the fact that I don't really feel this in my lower back. My hamstrings have felt wrecked lately, so that's a good sign for me that I'm doing the motion correctly, even if it doesn't look 100% awesome. So okay, this was earlier today. This was a 355 for a triple. Going in, I was going to try to hit 350 for a triple, and after my first warm-up set, I knew I had a lot more in me. So that's a lifetime PR. That's a huge PR for me, and it didn't look that hard. I actually hit 2 more sets. I finished 3 of my sets were at 335, and even here they're looking pretty good. So I was kind of in the zone, plugged in on this day. It felt amazing. Every set that I hit, I was just kind of telling myself, I'm not done yet. Again, I didn't really have this in mind. I would have been perfectly happy with 1 set of 3 at 350. But again, that's kind of the beauty of having that range, that weight range buffer. If I'm feeling good, if I want to just push it that day, I have that in me. So this was right in the middle of my range, and really, really pleased with how this day turned out. And I was jacked, to say the least. Mentally is what I mean. I was jacked up about this workout. So, and then surprisingly, I went right into deadlifts. I warmed up a little bit, and I think this is all-time PR for me. 355 for a triple. Again, form doesn't look awesome. I'm seeing a lot more rounding in my thoracic than I'd like to, but still kind of the same situation. I felt it wrecked in my hamstring. So we'll just see how it feels next week. And then yeah, instead of doing heavier stuff, I took that 355 and went back to 85% of it. I was kind of working in the 6 to 8 rep range. So that's kind of how I'm doing deadlifts right now. Hopefully I will get some footage from upper, but if not, thank you for watching this video, and please like it, subscribe it, all of that stuff, guys. I really appreciate all of my subscribers and people that watch my videos, and I may be bench pressing tomorrow, but if not, take care, guys. Alright, and some quick stuff from my last session of the week. This is one of my sets at 245 for 2. I hit this for 2 sets, and I hit some other stuff at 235. So finished the week off great with bench press day, my heavy bench day, and then yeah, I pretty much will stick with the same split. I believe next week is week 3, so the volume will be the same, and then for my 4th week I'll drop the volume, maybe try to max out some of my big lifts. So thank you guys again for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you next week.